Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Innovators Spark. We're going to get this show on the road. We are right at 9 o'clock. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2021 edition of the Innovators Spark. It was fantastic to see so many of you last night at the happy hour over at the Washington Duke. What a beautiful spot we have over there. So we are going to go ahead and jump in. There are some folks who are dialing in remotely due to matters about visas or COVID testing, etc. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth between here and the screens just to make sure that is working well. But they're all on YouTube. So for those of you who are out there watching remotely, welcome. Looking forward to seeing you very soon. My name is Stefan Fusi, and I'm the Managing Director for the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation here at Fuqua. And in a moment, I'm introducing Jamie Jones, Professor Jamie Jones, our Executive Director. Most of you met her or many of you met her last night. But we will go ahead and jump in. If you have not, let's see, does that work? If you have not yet registered, please do that. There should have seen a sign, a few signs around a little earlier this morning. So you can scan that QR code and go ahead and register if you have not done that already. But I will continue moving on. Here's our agenda for today. We've got a fun-filled day for you. And we're going to start off just saying hello, introducing ourselves. We'll have an icebreaker. Then we'll get into some of the programming that you can expect to participate in during your stay here at Fuqua and beyond. We will do a fun student matchmaker exercise. Recall last night I was saying, think a bit about a problem area or challenge or passion area that you have that you like to share with your classmates and friends. This will be the time for you to do that. And the way that'll work is we'll have everybody, you'll just come right on up. And well, actually, you're all in front of a mic there, but you can come up and just, I'll give you the instructions then. 11:30, we will break for lunch, which is going to be out in the Fox Center. 12:30, we are going to be joined virtually by several alumni who are entrepreneurs and investors. They're going to share a bit about their career paths and get you excited about that. It'll be an opportunity to ask some questions, hear what they have to say. And then we'll do a lemons to lemonade exercise at 1:30, and then conclude the day with a survey and what's next for your time here at Fuqua. So without further ado, you can see our backgrounds here. Both Jamie and I are technically trained and also got our MBAs. I went to the University of Wisconsin for our engineering school, and then here at Fuqua, I finished in 2006. And after that, went out and worked in industry, a number of brand management and marketing management companies. About 3 years ago, I started my own firm. I make potato chips. If you come to my office, you'll see some samples in there. And I've been operating that for the last 3 years in Cameroon. And Jamie, there's a mic there. You would like to introduce yourself or come up? Okay.
Hi, and welcome to Fuqua. Excited to get to know all of you. I'm Jamie Jones. I'm the executive director here. And as Stefan mentioned, I am technically trained. I actually have a PhD in chemistry, which is kind of a weird pathway to end up in entrepreneurship. But as you think about technology, commercialization, and the pathways of how innovation happens, that's what I get passionate about. And so I have an MBA on top of my PhD from an inferior school. I'm sorry, I went to Kellogg. I apologize. I know it's tough. But I am grateful to be here at Fuqua, and I think one of the things that I've been excited about Fuqua is how team-oriented we are and how we come together to really help everyone bring their vision to life. I spent some time in Chicago at Kellogg as the executive director of our social entrepreneurship programs there, and so have some experience in that space, and I know it's an area of interest to many of you. And while I was in Chicago, I co-founded Impact Engine, which is now an investment firm that invests in companies that have a positive impact on the world and are profitable. We started out as an accelerator, so I've had the experience of building out an early stage accelerator. We transitioned into a venture fund. We're on our second venture fund, so I've had experience investing in early stage companies. And we recently closed a $34 million private equity round where we are investing not only in growth stage impact companies, but also in funds, other investment funds that are investing in impact companies. And so have a bit of experience across the financing spectrum on that. I also teach our classes here. So I teach a lot of our entrepreneurship classes, particularly the new venture series around new venture discovery, new venture development. So that's a lot of the role that you will see me in and where we will get to know each other. And so with that, I turn the floor back over to Stefan.
Thank you, Jamie. I wasn't kidding yesterday when I said you'd be lucky if you could get into her classes because they're fantastic. She's being very modest. She won the teaching award this year, first time, I think, with that particular class. Let's see. Okay, and if you take nothing else away from today, we want you to know that Jamie and I are here to help you to make a lasting impact. This is our contact information. You already have it since you've gotten emails from us. What we'd encourage you to do is also follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn, where we also share information. We'll be getting all of you signed up for the EVCC newsletter, so you could hear directly from the club as well as from CEI. We work together on that. So wanted you to have that information right up the front. Okay.
All right. I know. So I heard that some of you all were out until 1, 2 a.m. Is that true? That's what I heard. So we're going to make sure we get up first thing and move around. I know. I didn't realize I was sitting there. Thank you very much. This is the way this is going to work. We're going to play rock, paper, scissors. And I know some of you are joining us for the first time in the U.S. I think this is a global game. Yes? Rock, paper, scissors? Well, there's always a dispute, though. I'm taking to my next slide. Sure. All right. There's always a dispute. Well, this is pretty standard. I don't think we dispute this, right? We know that scissors overcomes paper, right? Paper, scissors. Paper covers up rock, and rock pounds scissors, right? So that's the winners. That's who wins. I think we all can agree on these rules. The rules we don't always agree on is when you actually shoot. So, is it 1, 2, shoot, or is it 1, 2, 3, shoot? So we're going to agree for the few more rules that we're actually going to do rock, paper, scissors, and then you shoot, okay? So whatever it is that you're going to use, 1, 2, 3, shoot, okay? So that's the rules. Now, what you're going to do is we are going to move to the middle section, the back row back here, right? And we're going to divide up, kind of just generally have these. So if you're right of me over here, you're going that way. If you're left of me over here, you're going over here. And you're just going to find a person. And you're going to shake their, break it. Let's not shake it. This way, you're going to introduce yourself. Okay? Hi, I'm Jamie. Hi, I'm Jamie.
Hi, I'm Thomas.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
Thomas jumps behind me and starts saying, Jamie, Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie. All right. I'm Jamie. I'm Lauren. Are you ready? Yeah. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Let's go, Jamie.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Now, we both go behind and we go, Lauren, 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 Lauren. All right. This is what's going to happen, okay? Until we get to 2 finalists on stage. All right, let's go. Over here. Over here. Just pick somebody. Oh, yeah. You don't have time to Grab your seats, grab your seats. You got pressure. How do you feel about it? What's so good about it? What is so good about it? You having your team, you have a team. Everyone cheered you on, didn't they? You bet. So tell me more about it. Even though you lost, perhaps, because, well, Eric's a big winner, right? So that means the rest of you, well, I won't define that. How did it feel? Fun. What was fun about it?
You're encouraging a teammate.
You're encouraging other teammates, right? And that's what they do. That's exactly right. And so that's part of what we want to get to, is we want to create this superhero feeling, right? We're all in this together and we can tackle the world together, because that's what we do here at Team Fuqua. We really cheer each other on through our successes and through our failures. And so I hope that you will continue to remember this exercise as you move through your time here together and think about, how do I support my colleagues, my peers, in achieving what their own vision might be for having an impact on the world. So a small example of that through our rock, paper, scissors tournament today. All right, awesome. Stephen?
Thank you very much. That was exciting. All right. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is share a bit with you about some of the programming things that you can expect, the way that we approach entrepreneurship here at Fuqua. At Fuqua, we build in a framework for entrepreneurial action right from the beginning of your program as a student. We're one of the only top schools with a core class for entrepreneurial mindset and action, which all of you will be enrolled in very soon. You should have seen that already on your course schedules. This is where you will encounter this discover, develop, deliver framework for the first time as a device for framing, evaluating, and implementing an entrepreneurial venture. Now, a lot of people equate entrepreneurship with new venture creation. And if you're interested in starting a new venture or joining a startup, our curriculum and programming will support you in doing that. Fuqua alumni have started lots of businesses. I was talking with some folks last night about one of our recent examples, BioMilk, which does commercial lab-grown human breast milk. And they raised $3.5 million in a Series A just last year. So 2020 graduate. Who was clapping? I know someone. I think someone was working there. Someone in here worked there for a summer. Right here. Okay, very good. Right on. So you're our resident expert on BioMilk. Everyone has questions, they're going to come right to you. Tell us your name. Rohan. Okay, Rohan is our BioMilk expert now. So everybody wants to know about this, please ask him. And so they raised this $3.5 million Series A. The CEO, Michelle Egger, graduated from here with a daytime MBA in 2020. And so this is very possible. However, at Fuqua, we do take an extended view of what entrepreneurship could be to match the broad range of career interests for our students. And so some of you would have seen some papers up at the top of the middle of the room there that talked about that. But in any case, in each of these cases, having an entrepreneurial mindset is essential to be successful. Perhaps you want to do corporate innovation and work as a product manager inside of a big company. Totally possible to do that. Maybe you want to buy or join an existing venture and help it to grow, entrepreneurship through acquisition. Some of you might remember my number one tip. I was telling a few people about that yesterday. Or let's say you want to be on the other side of the table and you want to instead finance the innovations. Someone has a new venture or they're buying a company, you want to be on the financing side of that. In any of those cases, you need an entrepreneurial mindset in order to be successful with bringing that to life. Consider the entrepreneurship ecosystem at Duke. As Fuqua students, you're going to have access to Duke-wide resources and people, while CEI provides resources that are focused on the needs of Fuqua students. Other schools do the same thing or similar things for their students. And the great news is that so many of these programs are available to you as Fuqua students. Graduate and professional students usually can participate in almost all of these programs that you see here. And I'm going to call your attention to just a few of them. The new ventures courses are a structured approach that discover, develop, deliver framework. So a structured approach to going from idea to activation. The Student Founders Program matches entrepreneurial-minded students with expert coaches, a tight-knit community, and some small prototyping grants so you can get started on your venture. The Duke Angel Network invests in Duke-affiliated startups. So if you are a student, you are a faculty member, staff member, an alum, or even a parent of one of the above, you are eligible to get evaluated and potential funding from the Duke Angel Network. You can also, if you meet one of those criteria, you can also join the Duke Angel Network as an investor. Bless you. The Innovation Collab is a makerspace with a large array of 3D printers and other prototyping tools. We'll probably arrange some kind of field trip for those who are interested in learning about how the 3D printing works over there, how you can do other rapid prototyping so that you could build out a few things if you like to do that. These are the documents that I referenced at the back. We have created these career tailored roadmaps for learning and engaging here. So you may have picked up some of those, and if we run out, don't worry, we're going to email these to you, and we'll also have hard copies available at any time if you just want to stop by. But what these have is for those areas that I just talked about, those career paths, or one additional one is if you want to go and work at a startup, we've outlined courses that you should consider taking. We've outlined co-curricular activities, clubs, the specific programs, groups on campus that you might consider joining and getting involved with. So it's basically a cheat sheet for you as you think about which of these career paths, entrepreneurship-wise, I'd like to go down. Yeah, you just have it right there at your fingertips. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask me, ask Jamie, or ask members of our Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital Club. You probably met Abby Wheeler last night, one of the co-presidents of that. She's going to be joining us a little bit later this morning. The past few years, this part is really exciting. The past few years have seen an explosion of announcements related to tech, healthcare, startups in North Carolina. Apple and Google have announced that they're building hubs here in the Raleigh-Durham area. Pendo has become a unicorn. Every few days, Jamie and I seem to meet some venture capitalist who is relocating from some other place to Durham or Raleigh. So it's a fantastic place to be. And so these are just a few of the examples that you can find of this innovation that's happening here. Few more of the great companies that are going on here. But the point here, Research Triangle ranked 10th globally as an emerging startup hub. So you've really come to the right place at the right time. Some folks have said, they look at Raleigh and Durham as Silicon Valley 10 or 15 years ago, and they are moving here to try to get ahead of that curve. So you all have made a wonderful choice if you're interested in entrepreneurship by coming to this region. And so there's plenty of companies, plenty of opportunities here for you to get involved with, and that's what we're here to help you figure out. Here's a few examples of some companies just from the last year that were founded here, and a range of different opportunities. I talked about BioMilk already. Arctic Analytics is one, Doctor's Choice, UV, Sanitizers, Renmo. These are all companies from recent alumni. And the point about this is that these students started these ventures and launched their ventures while they were students here at Fuqua. So it is possible for you to do that. Take some of the classes, get involved with the clubs, get to know some of the local community, start developing your ideas. All that is possible. These folks have done it, and this is just a small sampling of that. And other folks are applying their entrepreneurial mindset at other places. They're working at large companies, small companies, name brands that you know, investment companies that you might not have heard of, but are very impactful, and all sorts of entrepreneurship ecosystem companies. So we have lots of people doing lots of great things entrepreneurship-wise here. And one more slide with some other companies. Some of these names you might have heard of: Cameo, maybe you've heard of Duolingo, Precision Biosciences, a number of unicorns on this slide here. These are all Duke and or Fuqua graduate founded companies. And so just another example that there are lots of companies that are coming out of Duke and Fuqua and going on to do amazing things. All right. Well, we are a little bit ahead of schedule. And so I think what we can do, we can jump right into doing this student matchmaker and offer folks a little bit more time to share your ideas. So here's what we're going to do. I've got these, it's not really sticky note, but it's papers. So if I could get someone to help out. Okay, I do. So what you'll do here is take that and pass it on, please. And let's see. Does everyone have a pen? If you don't, let me get this.
Those are not.
Okay, right. Does everyone have a pen? If you don't, I can grab it. All right. Anyone else need a sheet? Okay. Here's what we're going to do. For everyone who has an idea, and I hope that most of you will feel comfortable sharing a passion idea or a problem space or a challenge that you were interested in attempting to solve. We're not looking for a solution to anything or a specific idea. I see some waves of relief out here. We're not looking for a specific idea or business that you have started that you want to share with people. Although if you have that, you can share that, that's perfectly fine. We're just looking for a problem area. And so if I can get a volunteer, we'll demonstrate how this is going to work. As you come up, you'll be assigned a number. We'll just go in order. And what I'd like you to do is write your number fairly large on that paper. And then in advance, while you're waiting to be assigned the number, you can write, large font as much as you can, a brief summary, just a line or a phrase, even a couple of words if you must, about the problem area that you're interested in, because we'll use that to help to matchmake folks. As you hear somebody's presentation you think is interesting, then when we're done with this, we're going to group around and let everyone get to know each other and talk a bit about that idea and see if we can start forming some teams and make some groupings there. So with that, do I have a brave volunteer? Oh, I have one. You were first up. All right, very good. You are number one. Thank you very much. A big round of applause here. Please tell everyone your name.
I am Neil. Small different than sitting on the Neil.
Okay, very good. Come on up.
Come on. We need to see you.
And so that you're not hiding behind here like I was, I'm going to give you a handheld mic.
Sure.
Yep, that's on. And you can stand right over here so that everyone remotely could also see you. Perfect. And would just give us a minute about, your passion idea, and I'll stop talking and let you go.
So yeah, I'm Neil. I worked in healthcare consulting for 7 years with Accenture. And so growing up, I was always passionate about healthcare, almost, went to med school, but I just didn't want to do that. So I ended up wanting to figure out how can I help impact patient life on the opposite side. So that's why I went to healthcare consulting. Growing up, I did not have health insurance, and even through college, I just bypassed the system. One of the things that I'm passionate about is getting especially younger folks educated on health problems, because in my opinion, preventative medicine is the best medicine. And that's something that people don't really ever think about. You go through life, you're too busy with work, school, going to the gym, trying to eat healthy, meeting people, everything. And so all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're 10 years down the line, you're like, oh crap, I have all these different health problems where you just never thought about them. And so growing up, luckily, I never broke a bone or anything, but it's something that I think education is lacking in that space. And it's not necessarily a moneymaker, but I do think it's something that needs to be more ubiquitous within just general education as a student growing up. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd love to kind of break into that, but the big problem is you can't give medical advice and then not be held liable for it. And then there's people that are going to question that. So yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, so if you were right on your, so we're going to go full demonstration. You've got a big number 1, so we know that. If you could write, and when you get back to your seat, if you could write just briefly about your idea, a phrase there, so when folks come up to you, they can quickly remember what you were talking about. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
And actually, we're gonna modify this just a little bit to make it a little easier. We're gonna go ahead and stick you on the wall. So we're going number 1 over here.
Okay. Do I have a second volunteer? Okay, this side of the room is winning. I don't know, you folks need to step up. Yeah, please, come on up. Yeah, just write number 2.
All right, so, okay, time out.
Time out.
Okay. We're gonna give you a model here. Because right now we're just numbering the walls with numbers. So let's do this a little bit. We're gonna do a big giant number 1. So everybody should write your number, whatever that ends up being, what you're called. What's your name? Neil? How do you spell it? N-E-I-N-E-A-L?
N-A-E-A-L.
N-A-E-A-L. All right, Neil. So Neil, and you're preventative healthcare?
Yeah.
All right. Preventative health education. All right, so this is what it should look like. Leave your name, really briefly a reminder of what you are, and then we're gonna stick it over here. That way, if you want to have talked to Neil in a few minutes, you know where to find him.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
You good? I saw a giant number 2 on there.
I tried my best.
Okay.
Yeah,
you take it.
All right, the floor is yours. Introduce yourself, and
Sure
then
thing.
you will have, we're gonna go, we have fewer people. We can do, and we're a little early. We can do 90 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I was going
And
to
then-
filibuster this
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right? I'm Zach Baharosian. By way of a short bio, for those of you I haven't met, looking forward to meeting you all. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I was in, oh, nice. So I was in management consulting for a couple of years right at undergrad, but then I actually pivoted into the tech and fintech world. So I worked for a company called Toast. They're based out of Boston. They make restaurant software and hardware. You're probably familiar with the tablets that you see some waiters and waitresses with. But I was on their payments team. So I'm going to give you guys actually 2 different passionate areas, and they're actually totally unrelated. One of them stemming from my time at Toast around payments. I firmly believe that the credit infrastructure in the United States is backwards in a lot of ways. Now that's kind of vague, but basically Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express operate the credit rails in the United States as an oligarchy. And the United States is lagging in innovation in payments specifically, comparatively to the rest of the world, not by a little, but I would argue by magnitudes. And that is largely due to the entrenched infrastructure and rules that are placed by these four companies on the payment space. And so for Toast, we were thinking about trying to make payments more nimble from a B2B standpoint, and that got my wheels turning, and it's definitely a passion interest of mine. The other one, so to completely, switch gears on you guys, the name, image, likeness space for college athletics is, Abby's laughing because I've been talking everyone's ears off about this the last couple of days. But the name, image, likeness space in the student athlete realm right now, I kind of view as a little bit of the Wild West currently, just because there's so little actual codified law and rule, both from a compliance and an actual legal standpoint around that area. And so, I don't know, I think there's a lot of opportunity there just because there are so few rules in place today, and it'd be something I'd be pretty excited to explore further. So yeah, that's
Cool. Right on
the
time.
deal.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. So to follow the model, you'll write your name and also here. Yes, there should be. Is there a Sharpie? I have one. It might be up at the top there. Yeah, just grab that and then you can come back and paste it. And the tape is okay. There you go. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Do I have volunteer number 3? I knew this side of the room would not disappoint. Okay, come on up. There you are. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jenna Ballou, and I am from Atlanta, but spent the last 10 years in Boston. I know Neil from undergrad, sort of. And my background is in public health. I previously worked at a safety net hospital in Boston, managing like a diabetes clinical trial that used virtual world technology, which is really cool. And then spent the last few years working in health economics and outcomes research consulting, mostly for pharma and biotech companies. But I'm really interested in personal finance. So I have some questions for you guys. How many of you, in I guess in your recent jobs, invested in your 401k or had a Roth IRA? Wonderful. How many of you think about saving money or apart from your 401k? How many of you have budgets or are just actively thinking about how much you're spending? Wonderful. Now, how many of you feel learned about personal finance in your classes growing up? Wow, that's great. I'd like to learn more about that. And then how many of you feel like you learned everything that you know about personal finance on your own, through your own resources, through your parents, through reading articles? Okay, and that is exactly my point here, is that the education system is severely, just neglecting the personal finance education in teaching people how to actually, operate as adults and figure out how they're going to save for retirement and all of these things that you need to do in order to have a very successful, quote unquote, life. So I'm really interested in personal finance and would love to explore the topic more.
Thank you. Put your name and your idea on there along with the number. Number 3. Okay. Number 4. I saw this hand go up right here first. Yes. All right. Floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is April Prodhan, and for the past 3 years, I've been at 2 D2C consumer startups, Away and Glossier. And so during that time, I've had a lot of time working with physical products, so that's basically my background. And something that I'm really passionate about is basically skin. That's it, but specifically in the sun skin space. And my idea is basically a product that I feel like there's a white space in essentially clothes that protect you from the sun. And I think a lot of males have that option with like fishing. He was wearing a fishing shirt yesterday and I was like, this is my product, but for women. And if you go online and you're like, oh, I want a cute shirt that protects me from the sun when I'm at the beach, there's like nothing out there. So that's basically my idea. I'm really passionate about preventing skin cancer and also just keeping your skin looking good. So that's it.
And pen and paper right there. All right. Over on this side, someone's got right here in the front. These are great. Such a range of ideas here for problem areas here.
Hey everyone, I'm Danny Auerbach. I'm originally from Chicago, but I spent the past 2.5 years in Brooklyn, New York. In Chicago, I was actually a human capital consultant working with Fortune 500 companies with their HR systems, strategies, and solutions domestically and internationally. And while fun to be a consultant and travel and give the presentations to the CHROs and COOs all the time, my passion area is children, specifically K through 12. So I made the big jump from consulting over to 5th grade English and then 5th grade math the past year. And I've been a teacher for 2 years, very different than my first career. But my passion area, to expand off Jenna, is youth financial literacy, specifically within low-income areas. And I think to Jenna's point, we raised our hands at the point where we heard from our friends or our family or our parents about saving, about budgeting, about the next step to reach really this point in our careers. But in low-income areas, where do they get that information? Where does it come from? The system is generational or systematic generational poverty, as what I've referred to it before. And my problem going beyond youth financial literacy is how not only in high school or middle school it starts, but in elementary school, right from the get-go, from going to the grocery store or going out with your parents. It starts so early, and I would like to attack it at the ground floor as early as we can to reverse that change. Thank you.
Let's see, that's 5, number 6, okay?
Hi, guys. I feel like we should be doing the cheering on thing before everybody starts an idea like we did before. It feels really good. My name's Sam. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Samantha Williams. I like to be called Sam. I'm from New York. I lived in New York City for the past 13 years. I come from a kind of alternative background. I was in the performing arts, specifically musical theater, so I'm a singer and actor. No, I will not be singing this presentation for you. If you would like me to, I can do it for a small fee, and you'll get an invoice later. So while I was pursuing musical theater in New York, I also worked in the hospitality industry, and specifically the New York City restaurant world. And because I worked in that world, I had a lot of friends and family members that would ask me, hey, Sam, my parents are coming into town, and we want to get Italian food, and we're going to be in the West Village. Where should we go to dinner? I want a specific spot that like my parents are really gonna like. And I would, toss out a bunch of ideas like, I think your parents would really like this kind of place. It has this kind of ambiance, like that kind of thing. And there was never really an app for that kind of thing. I mean, you could kind of search online for Italian restaurants and you get like list articles. And there was an app that didn't last very long. It was called Urban Daddy. I don't know why. It might have been a reason why it didn't last very long. But you could put in like, hey, I'm dining out in this area and I want to eat this cuisine and I'm going with these people, like give me a list of restaurants. And so it just wasn't the right time for that app, I think. And I think like now really is the right time for that. And so I kind of want to start an app that's like that. That's my idea.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, right in the middle. Jamie, I don't know how you do it when there's so many people raising their hand. Who do you decide to pick?
I love having that problem.
Oh, you don't have the problem.
Hi all, Ankuroja this side, joining from India, the runner-up of the rock paper scissors competition. Prior to Fuqua, I was working as a digital consultant for EY. I worked in India, South Africa, Middle East. So I've been a little around. One thing that I realized while traveling was that we have a lot of concrete buildings. All the space that has been utilized by forests have been turned down into concrete buildings. And that's what something I'm passionate about, to try and convert it into some kind of hybrid living. I unfortunately don't see that happening. And which is why I'm here to get another perspective, get some hope on it. That would be my problem statement. How to convert a concrete building into a hybrid sustainable living, maybe with vertical gardening or something like that. For any of you who traveled to Singapore, you might have seen the airport that's there. They have somehow successfully managed to incorporate a concrete building with a jungle. They have a vertical garden over there. So just here to look for people who can give me another perspective of how we can make it profitable for corporations to incorporate these things into their buildings. But that was it.
Okay, you're next. You're now on number 8. Okay.
Number 8. Hi, I'm Monica. I used to be a reporter before Fuqua. One of my issues is I always have like a gazillion, I used to have always a gazillion story ideas, and just listening to you all, I've thought a lot of different business ideas. So I'll just limit myself to 2. For skincare, I have terrible skin, so it's always been something I've always been interested in. This week, Neutrogena recalled their beach sunscreen, which I had a lot of, so that was sad. One idea I had was to create a company where you could give your makeup products or your skincare products to them and test preemptively for not only like cancer-causing chemicals, but also like a lot of products make promises that they're vegan or they have certain chemicals in them. And it'd be great for like the consumers to have the ability rather than like waiting for the manufacturers to realize if they made a mistake. And then with healthcare, my second idea would be, one of the things I've hated about healthcare is like how many little details there are. One time, someone made a billing mistake for me that would have cost me $1,000, but luckily I noticed that the billing code was wrong. And like, it's very easy because like there's these codes that are like 6 or 7 digits. It's really easy to flip a number. So it'd be really cool if like consumers, because you get all this paperwork after you go to the doctors, but no one ever reads it, or at least I don't. It'd be really cool if you could like scan it and then check on your phone to see if the codes are actually correct. So, yeah.
Okay, I didn't kill it, cool. Hi, I'm Lauren. I'm originally from Philly. Spent a lot of time in New York after college. I worked in finance. It was pretty boring, so I needed a hobby. I like to sell things on the internet. Pretty much anything you got, I want to sell. I've sold everything from antique potato masher to a house. Like, don't throw it away. Don't give it to Goodwill. Give it to me. I'll take care of it. We're good. But the annoying thing is that like Facebook Marketplace is great, but it's not always a place where you can get the most money for what you're selling. Like, you're not going to want to sell a car the same place that you'll sell like a pair of shoes. But
we're kind of funneled into a couple of the same apps. The annoying part about this is, one, you're leaving money on the table, and then two, if you try to post on a bunch of different websites, you have to manage them separately. There's not a place where you can put them all together and manage all the cross posts. And then you have to delete them and interact with all the users on those different websites. So it gets kind of hairy, especially if you're trying to sell a bunch of stuff. So I think if there were one place where you could centrally take care of all of those postings, that would be great, at least for me. So yeah, that's my idea. Thanks.
Can you make that 9, number 9? Okay, and right over here. Floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Snow. Spent the last 5 years in healthcare, the last 3 working at a company that vetted digital health solutions for health systems to either implement or invest with their own venture funds. And then we also had our own fund. So spent a lot of time in the digital health space. I think after the last few years, especially with the pandemic, digital health has seen kind of an unprecedented boom. Everyone is investing in it. All the health systems are starting to use it. And I think that could be a really great tool to reduce some of the disparities within healthcare. However, it's not currently designed to do that. There's a huge gap in literacy when it comes to digital health, a huge gap in just the ability to understand what the digital health tool is telling you, how it's communicating, the language it's communicated in. So my idea is basically a way to personalize the digital health experience based on what data you already have or can gather about a particular person, their background, their cultural sensitivities, their language. And there are some companies like CRMs are certainly starting to play in that space, but they're not doing such a good job taking the data that they have and applying it to a website interaction that a consumer has, for example. So how do you make it when I go to the website where it's personalized for me based on my gender, the things that I like, my cultural sensitivities, all of those things, so that I can understand my healthcare better, I can access it better, and every interaction that I have with my doctor or my health system is sensitive to all the things that I need to understand my care better. So essentially interested in kind of bridging that gap and using data to personalize that digital health experience that a lot of people have access to, but really not everyone right now because it doesn't fit with kind of where they are.
Head and tape here. This should be 10. Is that right? Yes, number 10. And then I think starting number 11, we'll start going on that side of the wall or up there. Okay. Right, over here. How about here? Yes. Mr. Biomilk, you're next. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarosha. I'm from Toronto. Over the past 5 years, I started my own company in the digital marketing space, but basically bringing e-commerce solutions and helping other businesses increase their sales. But for me, I want to move into healthcare and mental health. So my idea is to tackle the global mental health crisis. I've personally struggled with my mental health. I watched friends and family also struggle. And with COVID, I know like over half the population is also struggling with their mental health. I want to bring in like technologies like VR to provide personalized mental health treatment and tackle the global mental health crisis.
Thank you. Number 11. Okay, we have number, yes, right here. Just as soon I forgot. You're welcome.
Hello, I am Rohan Rajiv. I think I've had the chance to meet most of you, but for those who've been fortunate to not listen to my spiel about clean meats, it is something that I'm very passionate about. I am from North Carolina. I grew up here. I spent the last 5 years in San Francisco working in supply chain sustainability at Cisco Systems. And so while it's a big jump from telecommunications, I think as maybe has been mentioned, I did work at BioMilk, a very cool company led by two pretty incredible badass women that makes human cultured breast milk outside of the human body. And so while that is not necessarily my target industry, I'm very passionate about, I think, like the meats and sustainable foods that we have going on. North Carolina has more pigs than people. And I think the Cape Fear River Basin provides like 2/3 of our like state's drinking water, but it's surrounded by like pig farms that often like will dump their excess waste into it. And so we are kind of at a space where alternative meats have really been saturated, and we've seen opportunities using like cellular agriculture to grow cells to resemble steaks and tunas. And it's kind of at that point where it's looking for a change in maybe the technology or the growth factors that are probably needed to get it to a sense of parity where it's an affordable like option for people. But I think it is just a very neat way to probably check off a sustainability objective. Probably like save the state that we're living in is a big goal. And then I think it's like a decent money maker, but we'll see. All right.
Okay. And someone do something weird to get my attention. Pick somebody. Okay, it works. I'll come back.
I'm bringing a low fidelity prototype up here with me. Hi. My name's Lizzie Ayub. I spent the last 5 years at Accenture, the latter of the two in the Boston Innovation Hub. And also spent some time in Atlanta. So I feel like I'm a melange of some of the people who have been up here. Went to Vanderbilt undergrad. So just quickly, the problem I experienced while traveling with consulting was that it was really hard to be healthy on the road. So I started creating, and you can tell this is well loved because it's actually broken. This was authentically brought with me today, these travel snack packs of different bars, shelf stable. There's some turkey jerky in there, electrolytes. I would even bring olive oil packets under 3 ounces you can bring through TSA because soybean oil is in most dressings, which is very inflammatory. Very interested in nutrition. And basically I started creating these. Team members started asking me to make them for them. So I never charged, but I thought, eventually in the future, you could create a little business around this. So my idea is to make travel a little healthier for people who, especially in business, have to be on the road a lot. I think you could partner with HR consulting firms and other businesses to offer it as a perk to their employees. So you could go B2B, also partner with airlines potentially, or hotels to, if you don't want shelf stable foods, you could just send them right to the hotels where they're staying. So it's worked for me, and I think it would help other people as well. That's my idea.
Let's see that. You'll be number 13. And there's a pen over here if you want to use that.
The bar set high. There's a low fidelity prototype, so.
Yes. Okay, right here in the middle. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, you got it.
Sorry, we did math camp, so we're like forever bonded by our. Hi, everybody. Whoa, this is loud. I'm Michelle Addison. I was a corporate attorney, and then I became an entrepreneur and started a healthcare practice in Miami. My passion area is food allergies. My oldest daughter was born with allergies to dairy and soy. And so I went to take her to the hospital and she was having problems, and they told me, if you're going to nurse her, you need to be dairy and soy free. So I was essentially dairy and soy free for 2 years. And that was not an easy process. Soy is in pretty much everything. I started a blog called Dairy and Soy Free Mama, and so I've been doing that for a long time, and I've built up a community there. And
most recently decided I should do something to not just support people, but I should try to create products that would actually help them. Did some little consumer research of my community, and people really need sauces, marinades, and dressings that are allergy friendly. And so I've started working on spice mixes that you can add your own products to that would create dressings, marinades, and sauces to like really just make a quick meal. Because when you're cooking from Whole Foods, it takes, not the store, but the foods, it takes a whole lot of time, which we don't have. And so really just looking for a way to make eating that way easier and quicker for everybody that has to do it. So that's my idea. If you're interested, love to chat more.
Please do not get discouraged if I'm not picking you right away, even if you had your hands up a bunch of times. It is not personal. I trust me. I'll get it to you. Okay, you got the black t-shirt. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I grew up in Vancouver and I spent the past 7 years in Korea working at Samsung's in-house marketing agency, going up against Apple, trying to make Samsung sound, better and seem like a better brand. It was really challenging because Apple, they're really good at their marketing. So yes, I've noticed two problems. We spend about 18 minutes on average on Netflix trying to figure out what to watch. And Instagram has ruined our lives. We're really focused on the external looks, like all the selfies, all the filters we're using, trying to look different than we really are. So I created an application we just launched 2 months ago. It's called Stack Story. I know this name sounds a little bad, but it's gonna change. So it's actually available for download on iOS. It's called Stack Story, as in like stacking stories. So it's basically a social network for content where you can see the songs, movies, books your friends are reading or consuming. And you can express yourself with content and trying to discover and also stack your wealth of content. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you could download it, check it out, and it's still early stage, so it's only like a working prototype. But yeah, we're trying to build basic features and really obsessed with the customer feedback. So yeah, I'm happy to chat more about it afterwards. Thank you.
Number 15. Okay, yes, kind of flash. I can see you.
Okay, so I come from the tech startup world. I've worked at two what I would call teenage companies, both of which have gotten acquired. One yesterday with a definitive agreement for $450 million. So it was a pretty exciting day yesterday. But I specifically want to work in healthcare. So you see a lot of AI, you see a lot of machine learning stuff outside of healthcare. It's not really in the health tech space the way that anyone would want it to, even though it has all sorts of applications that everyone wants to see. You can catch diseases quicker, you can do all sorts of things. One of the reasons it's not in healthcare, which is a huge problem and is really stressful, is moving from what's called a relational database to a graph database. I work with a lot of data engineers, so sorry if this is technical. I've basically been in the dungeon for the last 5 years with them. But basically, it's going from like an Excel spreadsheet to kind of a web style structure. Web style structures or graph databases really are what machine learning should work on, right? It makes it faster, otherwise things are going to crash and it's going to be really slow and you really can't get the benefits that you would want to. So moving from a relational database to a graph database, it's really hard when you have a built RDS or a relational database already structured. It's impossible to move. It's really stressful. And there's a huge shortage of graph database engineers in the world. Like it's a problem everywhere. So if a company has a really good one, they cling to them and won't let them go anywhere else. It's a massive problem. Once you're up running in a graph database, you can kind of figure it out, right? The reason healthcare doesn't have, there's not a lot of people kind of fumbling their way to get over to the graph database world is because of all of the compliance in there. It's high risk if you mess it up, which when you move from one to the other, there is just this fidelity time period where you can't figure it out. So my whole idea is creating a consulting firm to help people migrate. Thank you.
Okay, I want us to go back to that clap as you come up and clap when you sit down. Let's just get hyped up here. Okay, yes, right there. Clap.
Hi, I'm Joey. I'm originally from West Virginia, but have come to here through way of Charlotte, North Carolina, where I spent the past couple of years working in strategy consulting. So I did a lot of work with like M&A, so we would always be asking the question, buy, build, lease, or partner. But I think that that's a question that if you look now today, if you wanted to start a business, you'd go online, you use Shopify, and there's all of these different web apps out there. But as we go into this new world with AR, VR, and all these technologies, everyone has these great ideas on what they want to build, and all of them are these huge projects, but no one thinks about the screws. If you go into any building, like every building's held together by all these tiny pieces that no one really thinks about. They're not sexy, but someone's gonna have to make like the clocks and the digital infrastructure that everyone, when you're building this huge game, you're gonna want something that's gonna keep time. And it's really time consuming to build a lot of this digital infrastructure, but if you can build the widgets that go into a lot of these AR, VR applications that other people are going to use, it makes it way easier for other people to then just lease your technology and pay on a SaaS model. And then I guess I have two ideas. My other one, my mom, like a little over a year ago, was diagnosed with this autoimmune disease, which like not a sob story because she's very healthy, but she's not allowed to eat gluten, dairy, like any red meats, any soy products. Like there's so much stuff she can't eat. And there's thousands of people diagnosed with these different diseases every day that have very strict diets. But when you're first diagnosed, you just know that you can't eat anything in your house. So if there's a meal service that catered to people with these orphan diseases, so that way when you're diagnosed and get home from the doctors, you're able to say, I'm going to sign up for this service that caters to people with PCB or whatever disease you have. So that way you're immediately able to start living a healthier lifestyle and getting them like not just foods, but shampoos and all the other stuff that you need. So thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Okay, who are we clapping for next? Right here. Math camp, all right. Team math camp is in the house.
I'm not going to be talking about finance or math. Hi guys, I'm Lauren. So I come from a background in travel. I am very passionate about travel and I love how global our whole class is. I'm so excited to meet everybody who's from all of these different places. But I find that I feel like there's not a lot of sustainable information about like how to travel sustainably out there. Like I feel like there's all these like fancy eco resorts in Costa Rica for like luxury travelers. And I'm like, I can't afford that. Like I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, but like there's nothing really for me that I can do. So I feel like I don't really have a solution yet, but I feel like if there's like a content site or like a way to add like widgets to when you're searching for flights or hotels to like make sure that what you're searching for is not only like affordable, but also has some sort of sustainability element, I feel like that could be a very cool addition. So that's not really, and it's like a vague idea. So I feel like if anybody wants to talk to me about it, I would be excited. Thank you.
That was 18.
18. Okay. Yes. Thank you. I love the creativity. People are enrolling others to, point to them. Pick. There you go.
Hi, it's on, right? Yeah. So hi, this is Vivek. I'm from India. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to be here on the stage was that there's another Vivek in our class, and I want to claim this name. So it's very important for me to be here. So I have been working in startups in India for the last 5 years. I have worked in a variety of startups, from e-commerce to omni-channel retail to digital fitness and mental wellness. So if someone is interested in that, we can chat about it. I was sort of really excited seeing everyone sort of being so specific about their ideas. It's kind of overwhelming that way. I'm kind of very broad about what I want to do. I am interested in everything around healthcare, like mostly about letting people be healthy and how can we make that easier, right? And I see there are two kinds of problems. One is that when we talk about health, we generally talk about managing diseases and not staying healthy, right? And it's one education problem, as Neil was talking about, but it's also accessibility problem. Like, it's very challenging motivationally to be healthy every day. So there are a lot of ideas that I was thinking about that. Like, for example, suppose I have a plate and when I put something in it, it tells me that the things that I'm eating is healthy or unhealthy, right? Like things like that. So that's one of the areas that I'm interested in. The other sort of area that I'm interested in is making, and that's more specific to India. So in India, around 80% of the people pay out of pocket when they do any of the healthcare expense. And it's not because they don't have insurance, it's just that they don't know they have insurance, right? Like it's government sponsored insurance, but they really don't have a lot of access to that information. So I'm also looking at how, internet can be used to make, insurance very easy for people who are not that educated or not that well versed with English and not that, don't have the capability to read all the fine lines of figuring out where they can go and not pay for health. So yeah, those are some of the areas that I'm interested in. So yeah, just remember, I am Vivek.
Hey everyone, my name is Robbie. I'm originally from New York, but I've spent the last 4 years in Medellin, Colombia, working in the coffee sector. The coffee sector is a really fascinating, complex industry with a really flawed supply chain. But one of the areas that I think is the most fascinating and has the highest room for growth is most producers only think about the coffee bean that we end up roasting and that we all drink every morning. But 80% of the weight also is the cherry that is on the outside and all of the sugars around the bean. And then inside, there's another layer called coffee parchment. A lot of these products, because the coffee cycle is not very consistent, the focus is entirely on the green bean. And there is all this other product that is either sort of discarded or used in some very base product and does not provide as much value for producers that they could get out of the product that they're growing laboriously every day. There are a number of solutions that have come up with coffee cherries, which are this really nutrient-rich outer layer of the coffee bean. But all of the solutions are not really scalable, and it's a really complex problem involving supply chain, involving processing on site in developing countries that is going to take a lot of investment and a lot of clever strategies and how to build out a product that could be brought to a nation like the US, whether that's coffee flour. You can make flour, you can make like a sports syrup for sports drinks. You can do all sorts of really exciting things with these other products. But most of the time, it's either just turned into compost, like a low-base compost or something else like that, or just discarded into a local river, which is not good. So it's this product that has a lot of opportunity. So that's something that I'm interested in.
All right, let's see. Just a
Hi, everybody. My name's Ben. I've met most of you. So I spent the last 4 years living in Central America. I founded my own startup for the first 2 years in Guatemala, and then for the last 2, I've been doing management consulting across Central America and the Caribbean. So I'm interested in sort of mixing the two, and specifically seeing how NGOs can work with big businesses to reduce corruption in Latin America. It's something I saw both when I was founding my own startup and then in working with large businesses in the region, how rampant corruption and white collar crime is, and then how it essentially robs from all of the people. So interested in that mix. And then also similar to Robbie, interested in supply chain, sustainable supply chains in Latin America and specifically Central America. So nice to meet everybody.
Thank you very much. Okay. I love this.
Thank you. Hey everyone, my name is Andy Zimmerman, and like my girlfriend Samantha, I was a opera singer, musical theater performer, and TV actor for the past 12 years. And my passion is bringing the performing arts to a wider, more inclusive, and more accessible audience. And so actually the last time I was here, I was on the Broadway National Tour of Cats, the musical. We played here at DPAC. And I learned a couple things on tour. One, America really, really loves Cats. Maybe not the movie as much, but the musical, they love it. And they are really hungry for engaging live performances. And I think that no other art form delivers better on that than opera, which is my passion. And so I was thinking to myself, how do I combine that music in a way that feels more accessible and more inclusive to the audience? And so I applied for and won a grant from Music Academy of the West to write and produce my own original musical that will combine the greatest melodies in opera with an original story in English. So if you're passionate about the performing arts, please come see me, number 23. We're shopping in January in New York, so we can talk about
Yes, ma'am. Come on. You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jana. I'm from Hawaii, and I've worked in retail for a really long time, both corporate and family-owned. And one thing I've noticed is how much we consume without really thinking about it, just kind of buying out of our feelings, or when we're bored, we go online and we shop, we go to Target, spend a little bit more money than we intended to. I know I'm guilty of that. And one thing I'm really passionate about is helping people become conscious of what they're consuming and also understand more why they're buying the things they're buying. I think it's something we're not really taught very much about growing up, like what marketing, like everything that marketers know about us, and like how, all the different ways that we're convinced to buy things. And I think it would be really cool to teach people how to kind of be conscious consumers and understand what they're buying a lot more. no idea what the solution is, but that's a problem that I see, especially in retail. Thank you.
There's a marker up there. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Natalie from London. I've had quite an interesting career to date, I think. I've founded my own startup or co-founded it and sold it last year. So we scaled from 2 people to 250 people, which was a huge amount of work, but really, really rewarding. I think this is a really interesting question because for me, it's a space that I'm passionate about. But I really love the COO position and space. So I'm kind of hoping that during the next 2 years, I can find people to work with who can use a COO.
What number are we on? Anyone remember? That was I really gotta get better. 20, 24. You're number 25. Okay. Come on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maytab. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, but spent the last few years working in Toronto. I was an auditor, so I was auditing big banks and hedge funds. And then most recently, I was working at Thomson Reuters, supporting our technology organization and helping the CTO and tech VPs manage their tech budgets. An idea I have is it would be great if when we were shopping online, if we had a slider where we could change the appearance of the model. So I found myself shopping more online than usual during COVID, obviously, and I found myself either reading the reviews for, how clothing fits. So sometimes when you click on the product description, it'll say, okay, model is 5'10", wearing a size small. Well, great, that doesn't really help me. Or I'll see models that are not my ethnicity or have a different skin color. So I thought it'd be great if there was just some sort of color slider where I could change the color of the model's skin just to see what the clothing would look like on someone that looks like me. So.
All right, who's number 27? Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. I grew up in California and then spent the last 6 years in Philadelphia working for a pharma biotech clinical trial software company, really a mouthful. I joined as employee 60, and last week when I left, we were over 700, so grew pretty rapidly. I'm really interested in the health tech space and specifically bringing insights from behavioral science. So there's been a proliferation of health tech, but that doesn't necessarily lead to behavior change. And I'm really interested in why we do the things we do and how technology can enable better decisions.
27. Thank you. All right. Yes, sir. Come to you next. Sure.
Hi guys, my name is Eduardo. I'm born and raised in Italy, but in the last 4 years I was living in the UK. I've worked for the past 8 years as a vet surgeon, was the director of a clinic, but during this pandemic, I realized like how healthcare and technology, also like in the industry, a huge gap. There's a huge gap. I had like thousands of phone calls from clients that asking for me what was for me like a silly question. But then I realized all the clients, they phone it because they don't have all the information. I spent my 5 years of a university plus my 8 years of working as a vet. So that's why they're calling for something for me is really silly to answer like in 2 seconds. So probably, yes, I need to talk with Leo about how we can improve knowledge and education for clients in the healthcare sector, but also with Emily, because then I realized that GP and most of the time like a specialist, doesn't matter, it's like a, for vet or humans, have a couple of folks, they work as a GP for humans, and they say, we are not keeping in touch our records with the patients, so we don't know when they go home, what happened to them. If the only moment that we know know when they come here for a recheck, that can be like once a year, one every 2 months or 3 months. But during this time can happen really a lot of problem. And then if you visit a specialist, a GP and a specialist, sometimes they don't talk each other. So you go to the specialist, they can be whatever, and then say, oh yeah, then if you have a problem, go to your GP. And then most of the time, like the GP has a totally different system where they put all the notes and everything, and then the specialist doesn't know anything. So that's my two ideas. Like make it like an app or a website where first client, they can have like improve their knowledge, and then make the life of like a doctor a little bit easier, because in this way you're not going to ask like really silly question. What for us might be like quite silly question. But a second point is like make a way how they can communicate much better the normal like a daily, how they, especially if they need like a routine checkup, and also where like a GP and a specialist, they can communicate together.
Okay, the third, come on up.
Hey everyone, I'm Clay. I come from an engineering background. I worked at GE Renewable Energy in their wind business. Something I'm passionate about is sustainable land development and construction. So generally speaking, technologies that lower carbon emissions and preserve wildlife and habitat. Obviously that's a big issue, like in terms of solutions, those are not easy solutions. The construction industry, although at like Amazon or Google's headquarters look very innovative and new age, we're all probably living in apartments that were built the same way that they were in the 60s and 70s. So without any amazing solutions top of mind, I'll give you an example. Biomason right here in Durham is a startup, despite being started by I think NC State grads. They're doing great work. They are creating cement from microorganisms at much lower carbon emissions. And with less raw materials. So that's what I'm interested in. If you want to talk to me, it sounds like maybe Anchor. I think I'm, what, 29? 30? Okay. All right. Thanks, all.
Okay, I don't know if lucky number 30 is a thing or not, but who's lucky number 30? Yes, sir.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello, everybody. I'm Michael. I went to Duke undergrad, so I'm double dipping a bit. I spent the past 4 years working for a healthcare company in Raleigh. And one thing I noticed, and I was thinking about it this morning because I was frustrated with it, is when you're starting a new healthcare practice, if you're small, if you're one provider, two provider, if you're your individual doctor, it's very expensive, difficult, and opaque trying to open up your own medical practice. There's a lot of things to consider. There's in-house versus outsourced billing, which takes a huge cut. There's an office management component. There's policies and procedures. There's an EHR, EMR decision to make. And then you have to think about tracking outcome tools. Now, there are, certain solutions in each of those areas, but integrating all of them into one place would be a huge quality of life improvement for people who operate small practices. Large hospital systems have figured out their own solutions, but that's kind of a manpower and resources thing. But a lot of the doctors I've talked to who have that entrepreneurial spirit, who want to have their own practice, don't want to work in a large hospital system, that is one of the barriers of entry. So I'm hoping, and I'm excited that a lot of people here are interested in health tech. If people want to talk about that, maybe, learn a little bit more from each other. So yeah, that's my idea. I can pick 31. Oh,
Thomas.
All right. So anybody here has worked in manufacturing? That's what I thought. Oh, we got one. Okay. So I used to do sales for a manufacturing company up in Minneapolis, and we grew exponentially. It was a great year for us. We became the industry leader for a very niche market, but our systems were prehistoric, and that's how the industry is right now. And I think it's a great time to innovate in the manufacturing sector. I've been hearing all your presentations. You're all coming from consulting backgrounds, have innovative ideas about healthcare, and just manufacturing is not, I think, at the where it should be. We hear a lot about AI being involved, but I think there's more room for improvement. So I've had some ideas about how can we create an integrated production management system, because we were closing all these sales, doing all these deals, and production wasn't keeping up, and our clients were extremely frustrated with us. We're losing sales, and luckily we stayed in business. So I'm looking for ideas on how we can come up with an integrated production management system. And then I have a little second idea. So before I came down to Fuqua and brought the Greek sun with me, I had long hair. So I had really long hair and curly hair. And for those who have curly hair here, it's very frustrating because you're looking at one product for straight hair and you're looking at the same product for curly hair, and they're almost double the price. And they're selling you this marketing about like natural products. And I'm like, man, come on, let's be real. That costs probably like $2 to make it, and you're selling it at like 15 bucks. So it would be nice to come up with something creative where we can use natural products and at a much affordable price, and not be like a Diva Curl product where they get involved in a class action lawsuit because they're using cheap ingredients. So, yeah. So that's it. Yeah. 32. Let's go, Christine.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christy Schur. For the last 4 years, I worked as a merchandise planner at Macy's Corporate. And instead of connecting people to purchases, I want to connect people to people through a business that eliminates loneliness. Research has shown that loneliness for a prolonged period of time has the same effect as smoking 7 cigarettes a day. So you can eat healthy, you can exercise, but at the end of the day, if you aren't connected to a community, you can still have detrimental health effects. So I'm looking to foster connection, especially female friendships, and have something authentic in person and reduce loneliness.
All right. Hey, good morning. My name is Daniel Khan, kind of like Daniel, but it's pronounced Daniel. You can call me DK for short. And so I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I've worked the past 2 years at Cardinal Health down in Florida, near Orlando, Florida. We were making COVID vaccine needles, so we were running 24/7 nonstop. And so I'll share 2 passion areas of mine. The first one is, well, they're both related to healthcare. So the first one is making healthcare more affordable, especially for kids that need it. About 5 or 6 years ago, some of you may have seen this. There was a viral video of Robert Downey Jr. giving an Iron Man arm to a boy named Alex who didn't have an arm. So I was actually part of that startup nonprofit organization. And so we 3D printed prosthetic arms for less than $500. We gave them away for free to kids. Definitely love to explore that passion area. And then the second area that I definitely want to explore is something that Neil actually talked about with preventative healthcare, but particularly in at-home solutions. So I'm kind of lazy, and so I'd love to have my healthcare at my fingertips, at home, and that's kind of where the world's heading towards anyways, with all of the meal delivery services. You have your Amazon deliveries. You don't have to leave your house anymore, right? So it's kind of turning into like the Wall-E scene at the end of the movie, right? Where all the humans just doing nothing. So thank you.
Anybody want to go? No?
Have we heard from everyone who wants to say something? Oh, no, here we go, right here. Yeah, I'll check, hold on.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, I hate my voice. Okay. Hi, Tyler Kendrick. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., but moved here from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm an internal auditor at Eli Lilly. We're not liked very much as internal auditors, but my passion is, first, let me ask this question. How many of you grew up in a house that your family owned? Okay. How many of you rent apartments right now? How many of you have had issues getting in contact with your leasing office, maintenance, et cetera? Okay, so I'm the queen of that. And I want a better solution, one, to get in contact with your leasing office, helping with maintenance requests, but also access to housing. I grew up in a household where I actually was able to see my mom buy her home, et cetera, but I know a lot of my friends and family and people I grew up with, they do not. They've always known their family to be in apartments, et cetera. And so I want to give people more access to actually buy and own their home to help with generational wealth. That's my pitch. Anyone?
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm from Boston, so go Boston. And one of my passions is educating people about nutrition and also about food sensitivities. I know a couple of you talked about the struggles of trying to deal with food allergies and how difficult that is. And personally, I've struggled with that as well. And one problem I see just going in the grocery store, there's just so many options. There's that you can choose from, but it's honestly very difficult. And sometimes it'll say it's gluten-free, but you can still get a reaction from it. So I would really love to merge technology so you can see at a high level how things compare within different food groups and also cost-wise as well. So a lot of people think that eating well is very expensive, but I think it would be great to see on an app how the price compares as well as how many ingredients are in different foods. So that's kind of what I'm passionate about and would love to talk more with you about your business ideas as well. Thank you.
I think you at number 35. Okay, number 36. Yes, sir, come on up. Math camp? Math camp? No? Math camp? Okay, math camp, team math camp.
Hey everyone, my name is Kevin. I'm from Germany. For the past 5 years, I was an implementation consultant and project manager for Thomson Reuters in Frankfurt. I want to share two things with you. So one, my passion is athletics. So I'm a former student athlete, and anything around athletics I'm really passionate about and would be happy to talk to you about. The other thing is a problem that I have identified and that other people have talked about too. It's consuming goods and consuming a lot of goods. And because of that, the space where we're living in is basically shrinking. The apartments we're living in are not getting bigger, but we are having more stuff to store. And while Lauren wants to sell all of this shit, I would like to store it. So the idea is having a pickup and delivery system for your stuff that you're usually storing and don't really need. can be seasonal stuff like your Christmas decorations, Halloween decorations, seasonal clothing, or any party outfits that you only need once a year. So the idea would be to have a pickup and delivery system at the time when you need that. So you don't have it in your apartment laying around, rather having it in some storage. $37?
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Amar. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, but also spent some time in Toronto. I used to work in consulting and then also did a short stint in VC out in Vancouver. My passion area is sports and sports tech, and a problem that I often have, and I'm sure other sports fans have, is when your team isn't playing, what game do you watch? Everyone, like, if your team's not playing, you want to watch the most entertaining game, because at the end of the day, that's what sports is. It's entertainment. So the product that I've kind of thought about is an app that could predict how entertaining a game is going to be via a score, maybe from 0 to 100 or 1 to 10. So if my team isn't playing and I just want to watch the best game, I can go on this app and be like, okay, you know what, this Duke UNC game, for example, looks to be super entertaining. They're both highly ranked. This game might have March Madness implications, and that way I know which game to watch. And I think there's some important use cases, not just for myself, because I want to watch the most entertaining thing, and for other people, but also for bars and restaurants. You want your customers to be entertained while they're there. So why not throw on the best game? The worst thing is you walk into a bar with your friends to watch a game and like one team's winning by 40 and then you goes, well, there's no point in watching this game anymore. And you talk to the restaurant, oh, can you change to this game? Can you change to this game? And sometimes that process gets annoying. So being a restaurant or a bar owner, you can just be like, hey, like this app says that this game is going to be the most entertaining. It's a tight game, or you know, the game's just about to start. Let me throw this on to make sure my guests are entertained. Anyone else? Yes.
All right, quick poll. How many of you born and raised in the US? Okay. How many of you understand US healthcare system? I mean, you can make your way, right? Like, you know how things work roughly. Yeah. And how many of you understand any of the healthcare systems outside of the US? No, if you're born and raised in the US. It's a continuation. So point is probably not. So my name is Ari. I worked in healthcare consulting for the last 6 years. Started off in India as an analyst, worked on US healthcare, then moved to London for the last 3-4 years, worked on European healthcare, did a short stint in China as well. All the systems are pretty different, right? And then none of them is perfect, of course, as we would know, but there are good elements from each that can be taken together and you can get something that works really well. So like what I'm thinking of now is, I didn't come with an idea, honestly, but I think there's like a lot of good things happening in healthcare systems around the world. And if people had better understanding of how things are outside, then we could like integrate it into something that's super nice and helpful, right? So that's something I'm gonna think about in the next 2 years. And I saw a lot of people interested in healthcare, which is amazing. So I just wanna hear perspectives and see how that goes. And secondly, data. So I worked as an analyst before. I don't know if anyone has been a data analyst before, but data is a gold mine. In the US, you get great data for healthcare. Nowhere else in the world it's that good. Like my biggest problem in Europe was getting good healthcare data to make any kind of analysis. So better tracking of systems is possible. US is doing it quite well. So I think there's like good learning that can be spread across the pond. And again, that's gonna give out like some really cool insights that will help humanity in general. So 2 things that I'm still thinking about, not strong yet, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. I didn't want to be the last one, so.
Hello, everyone. I'm Flavio. I had the pleasure to know some of you in person already. It'd be nice to meet you later on and get in touch. I didn't have a specific idea before, but you were having so many ideas here. I was, oh, that's so great. So I'm going to probably be an entrepreneur, not now, but sooner or later I will. I have a consulting background. I have worked for a German company called Rollenberger. It's not that famous here, but it's a strategic consulting firm. And now what I see as a problem that kind of make me think about the solution is the fake news. Like in Brazil, many people were against one another. Like my family, there's a group and people are starting, sending news one against one another and they are all fake. So say, oh my God, my family is kind of, and I have Italian family, kind of, okay, everybody is kind of fighting inside my whole family because of this. So what I thought, maybe we could have maybe a blockchain system that could verify the news if it's this news is actually something legitimate, would be very good for the whole society. Like I get afraid. I don't know if any of you have seen that documentary about I think network. What was the name? Social network. So that's kind of shocking because it seems the things happening. So I was thinking about this blockchain system that could verify this would be something good for the whole world at least. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eliza. I know some of you, not all of you. I'm hesitant to share this idea because I don't know a lot of you, but I think I come from Seattle, Washington State, where it's a pretty liberal state. If you haven't been there, it's great to visit. One of the things that I've observed over the past few years is how medical marijuana has become a huge business, and it's now like recreational marijuana. Something that came up at a party recently was that hallucinogens are starting to gain traction. And I think this is the next big area where there's going to need to be regulatory support for helping these kind of businesses scale and help manage safety. So I think that this is something that our generation should look into as far as being able to help these businesses safely scale. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for helping out with mental health. So thanks, colleagues who have helped me to frame this idea and build it.
Thank you. And number 40. Right. Okay, I think that's right. I'm not seeing any other hands. Okay, well, great. This has been wonderful. Let's just have a round of applause for everybody. Are you looking for the tape? It should be over there somewhere. Roll of tape?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, you got it? Okay, good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go for lunch at 11:30. So we have about 45 minutes now to get up, and if you came up and shared your passion area or interests area, stand by your poster, your Post-it notes, and they're roughly in order. 1 through 10 is over here, and then the rest start over here and go around the middle of the room. What I love to see happen is everyone visit at least two of your classmates and connect with them about their idea. And if you can fit in talking to them about more ideas or talking to more people about your ideas, that'd be even better. So let's go ahead. Oh, wait, oh yeah, you can. You can. So because I think the majority of people are actually going to be standing there, and there'll be no one to talk to you. So just wait. So. Okay, perfect.
So everybody's in the first half. You stand by your posters, everybody else mingles, and then we'll do the second half.
Perfect.
And we'll have a free-for-all as the third one.
Perfect. Wonderful. There you go.
If you're 1 through
20.
20, then you stand by your posters right now.
Perfect.
But I want
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's Yes. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I should go back to my seat.
All right, folks, time for us to switch up. Lots of great conversations are happening. So if you are presenters 21 through 40, time to man your stations and let's switch it up. Presenters 21 through 40. Presenters 21 through 40. You're up. Please go to your station and we'll switch it up. Now you all showed presenters 1 through 20 a lot of love, so let's pay it forward. Don't leave them hanging. Presenters 21 through 40, it's your turn. Let's show them some love and hear about their passion areas.
yourself the behavior, right? Yeah, that's motivation problem. So, I don't know if you have read it's about it really well. Like one of the things that they did was that earlier they had like there was some food thing like there was some food page and it used to be a regular spread and things people used to eat unhealthy stuff and what they did was that then they started putting healthy stuff at the eye level and suddenly the consumption sort of changed. Right? I saw this in like in the app that I was working on. There was something and it was something related to health. Like it was not the default, and people would not opt for it, and we thought like we wanted. But then we started making it a default. You have to opt for this, healthy snack that we used to give or something, and people just started opting for it, right? Like it's just the access problem. Like if you make it easier for people to be healthy, they'll probably take it. Stay away from that. And that's why I like her idea as well, like talking about the snack thing.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like,
That's so awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like the moment. I mean, I also felt that like it's so hard to be healthy. Like like if you want to do it, you have to do it on your own terms. You have to find things.
Time intensive.
Yeah,
Time is
exactly.
Time is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I even think navigating I felt how to do that to navigate. You get time. You also have to figure out but
Yeah.
And you don't, that's something.
Yeah. So I was thinking in that space as well. Like, think of how Instagram does it for sharing. Like it's so intuitive. Whereas healthcare is so complex. Like if you want to even claim your insurance, they just make it so hard to do it. Actually, there are some apps which are in India doing something similar for credit card payment. Like they're making it very simple, seamless, interesting, fun. And I thought maybe that can be done for healthcare as well, right? Like a lot of people don't even know that their healthcare covers certain things, which is hard to, right? Like what if like you had a system where you can just take a snap of your health and it tells whether it's covered or not, or like make a diagnosis and just put it up and say, well, it's covered.
the same thing like manual stuff.
Exactly.
All the insurance.
I know.
It's like solving it's like the complex. It needs to be simplified. People aren't going to know the scientific name for like certain medicines.
Unless the entire, well, at least
Well, actually, I remember this part.
Yeah.
Right, like I didn't tell you.
Yeah. It's very hard, yeah. that's a good space, kind of, like you just experience, like, making things easier for an individual provider. Because as a doctor, you do want to have an individual practice because that gives you a sense of freedom.
That's the benefit of a large health system. But then,
Party.
But it actually works out. Oh, I know. Yeah. Are you in the summer? Okay, good. Yeah. But again. Oh, you can mention
Vaccine. At least there was something that tripped up. Like, well, good.
my brother's a doctor. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna cardiologist. It's like, why are you two guys talking to each other? As a patient, I'm like, pissed off, right?
That's my problem with India as well, right? Like I have a son who was diagnosed with cancer, and the first doctor kind of just stopped once you referred her to the second one, and she still has conditions, right? In addition to whatever is going on, she has to manage so many other things which she has to work with the first doctor. But they are not talking, right? Like she has to tell, okay, that doctor told me these things, and here's the prescription, and then he would read through it. No, why not just like have something which can let you coordinate?
I mean, the other big, but I think back, that is.
Yeah. That's a real problem, right?
Like it's like.
Food all the time, right? Spending all that time in bed. You're going to take lives. Well, I think it's like very long, as you growing as like that's
I can do it. I'll take one for the team.
Well, and one like I know.
I wanted to. You know, it's,
Navigate, and if it goes wrong, software has an integration issue, so like
Yeah.
that data is
That's the tricky part of it. Yeah, what they are doing is they're kind of trying to simplify that, and that's primarily because it's also new for them, like it's a new system that they're building. They are kind of underlying the way all the government itself has sort of outlined a health stack of sorts, which is going to be the health infrastructure, and they are asking people to generate data if they are generating any data in that order, in that format, so that it can be compatible across systems. The only big problem is that no one is generating data in India. So if we can solve that, like I think that's a great space there. Right.
So one thing about data, I was listening to a podcast, and it was a nurse in the UK. They call it like she's like call it a founder of nursing. But she talked about she was the first nurse to utilize properly, or like they argue in the podcast properly. Yes, it's great that there's like all these but how you use it. Kind of just as important for interpretation and having you could take the same data point, it's the way you can give you two different and then as a consumer, you're sitting up there like a series like, oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You can buy into it. So in reality, you're not really being forthright. That's it. Is that as a person, how do you properly question?
Yeah. All right, folks, just a point of information for you. You can keep talking. Let me just let you know about what we're doing next. Oh, can't hear me. Folks, that better? Okay. A little point of information for you. Lunch is going to be served out in the Fox Center. There should be signs that say the Innovators Spark. There should be, but we'll verify that. But it will be in the Fox Center. That's at 11:30. It's 11:16 now. We can continue the conversations. Start to make your way over there. We'll have an hour for lunch. We'll want to come back to this room at 12:25 so we can get settled with our alumni speakers who will be joining us virtually at 12:30. So you're free to make your way out, continue your conversations. Lunch will be served out there. It should be boxed lunches, so look for that part of it. I think there's another group over there for HSM or another group. So, all right, back to your conversations. We'll be back here at 12:25.
Are you part of it?
Yes.
But it's very exciting to see so many people interested in healthcare here. Like it's just so nice. Like you were the first speaker, right? And when you spoke, I was like, okay, there are people that I want to talk to. Like
like I could have met I could cover each other. I think there are a lot more.
Yeah.
Actually, when I think about it, I
Maybe I'll also join you.
worked at a anyone's involved with that. Exactly. It's really fun. As creating like it's smaller trials. Yeah, did that.
Yeah, so my better medicine. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. I love Durham. But Philly was like,
I don't know. I don't know.
where'd you go? You have to go back to the other gym. And then midnight, that here. Got it. Sienna has I love it. And I was saying, I love I love Florence, and then because my parents went to very magical.
Yeah.
I like it. And by the way, I read something yesterday.
Gotta go back. Gotta go back. I mean,
They're saying that basically but we see a lot of red.
a cappuccino is just I mean, I'll do like the inappropriate. After lunch, like cappuccino and big drink. Drink it at the espresso bar.
I guess the hard part of that is like having it far separated.
Yeah. No, it'll be so hot outside.
Sounds like how it's meant. Party this yeah. Natural. Very fine. No one like the algorithm.
So now we all have to suffer.
Yes.
Fashion choice thing. That's a good game.
Imagine.
No other option. That the bar we were at in Europe, everyone was big and the motion of the last few minutes so excited that the British were or no, take it. Everyone was excellent. Yeah, why you were from Jamaica? I got 7 out just like that.
I just solved that, so not yeah.
Okay, I got her.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. From there, apartment. It's hard to rally to go out after.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah. Not at all.
Oh.
Okay, gonna walk around. Oh.
Extra was painting. That's the Italian guy who was.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Um, okay.
Holy. Water, I need to take this.